Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the video. This is another paid request, this time for David. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for Doctor Who, the movie from 1996, and I don't know if this is a rant or a review because I was not a fan of this film at all. But I don't know if it's just because I just don't know Doctor Who, which is true, or because it was bad. What I mean by that is I've tried watching Doctor Who in the past and it wasn't for me. The memory I remember is when I was growing up on the farm had four channels: PBS, ABC, CBS, and a second form of CBS. And PBS would be the channel of those I would watch the least. Maybe a few bits of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, maybe a little bit of Reading Rainbow, a tad of Sesame Street, and Doctor Who. And the thing I remember Doctor Who that I liked is the opening with the wormhole and that music. I love the music, the theme. I remember as a little kid seeing that and being creeped out. I just for some reason I thought it was like a horror thing, even though the music sounds nothing horror, but just that wormhole. But I think then I would see the show, and it always seemed the stuff I saw cheap, or just something to it. Is I get the gist of it. There's the Time Lords, and there's the Daleks, and there's the TARDIS, and things of that nature. But I'm not knowledgeable on it at all. I'm the blind man going through the field of Doctor Who and would need a few people like my friend Michael Keane to lead me by the hand through any and all of this. So I'm not the right guy to review talk about this. Because in all truthfulness, I don't know jack squat about Doctor Who. Even the stuff I'm like, I'm not big. But at the same time, I can't remember them that much either. So maybe that's unfair for me to say, but it's just me being honest. Now, from what I understand, this is a movie that I guess was done for the Fox network or something. Like, they want to do a bit of an American Doctor Who, or at least, from what I understand, this is supposed to be like a pilot to a revitalizing a TV show of Doctor Who. Because it was not on the air for a while, and people were wanting to see another Doctor Who for a while, and this was like their stab at it. But I guess it didn't make that much of an impression because the guy who plays the Doctor here, he never played him again except I guess for one more movie or show, I should say, one more show he had made an appearance in. But apparently there was a lot of audio books, like stories that the guy Paul McGann offered and played this Doctor, which I guess he was the eighth Doctor. Just another thing, like the Doctor, when he dies, he'll be revitalized, but he'll look different. That was a way of recasting the character, but making the same continuity. Which is a neat way to do it. It's not like James Bond, where, yeah, we recast someone, but then did the other films happen? I guess they did, but at the same time, it's like this weird. Here, of course, you could do it because it's sci-fi. And Paul McGann, I know I recognize the actor. He was in Alien 3. I think he was the guy that. Remember the guy that went crazy and in the extended cut, he after they capture the xenomorph, he's the guy that believes this is the demon devil, and he goes and he opens it up again to leave the xenomorph out. That's Paul McGann. the crazy nut. He even kills one of the other prisoners, like slices his throat. That's Paul McGann. He doesn't do a bad job. The rest of it was either very uneventful, very minute, or just very campy or cheap. And apparently it was supposed to be like a bigger budget, but I didn't see it on the show on this movie. It still felt like a cheap TV movie. And so at the beginning, there's all this stuff like information dump of Planet Starro and the enemy called the Master, and he's on trial. Doctor Who has to take them to their home planet because he's a Time Lord and the Master was a Time Lord. And at first, it's Sylvester McCoy, who I believe was the Doctor previously, the Seventh Doctor. And it's hard to gauge him in this because they make him seem like an idiot. Because here's his master that seems like a very big deal. And the TARDIS is like on the outside, it's a old school looking phone booth. British like phone booth. But on the inside is very vast. And it can like fly through space and time. So he's not even paying attention, he's just reading a book. Like the Time Machine book. He's not even paying attention to this thing. Like, shouldn't you be worried about this thing in case it goes haywire? This master seems like a pretty bad dude. But no, he's just willy-nilly reading a book. So the fucking thing gets out, becomes some CGI ghost serpent thing that goes to the TARDIS, wrecks it. So it makes this Dr. Sylvester McCoy look like an idiot, not paying attention. Might as well have a dunce cap and a thumb up his ass. The TARDIS lands on Earth in San Francisco in 1999. Because it makes it cheaper. And then I have to assume if you're a fan of this Doctor, how would they feel about the Doctor coming out? As soon as he comes out, a fucking gang of triads shoot him. I'm like, I just imagine if I was a fan of this Doctor and he probably went through all these obstacles with different monsters or creatures or evil. He just killed by pretty much a fucking drive-by from a triad. Really? Fuck. That'd be like Captain Kirk falling off a fucking bridge. Yeah. But here, technically, is a chunk of him in the hospital, and they're trying to resuscitate him, and they keep telling the audience he's got 2 hearts, he's got 2 hearts. He flatlines. They put him in the morgue. And fucking Will Sasso was in this from Mad TV, among other stuff. He's the guy who played the Steven Seagal on Mad TV. I'm like, is that fucking Will Sasso? That is Will Sasso as one of the morgue attendants who's like, man, it's 1999, we're going to party. Because remember, this movie came out in 1996. So the Doctor revitalizes, becomes the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann. Meanwhile, the Master escaped into this ambulance driver, and it's Eric Roberts. Yes, Eric Roberts plays the main villain. Because this ghost serpent thing goes into him, and when he first is possessed, he's talking very stilted, like this. You will call me Master. And he turns, he got shitty looking green eyes. And eventually he starts talking a little bit more normal, but at the same time, Eric Roberts, listen, I'm a fan of Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts was in a film I love called The Ambulance, directed by Larry Cohen. He's been in a lot of stuff. The First Expendables as one of our villains. Like him in that. Yeah, I liked him as an actor. He's very campy in this. Especially when you get into the third act where he's dressed like Doctor Strange with the cloak and stuff. He's dressed like Doctor Strange. Wannabe Doctor Strange. He's tamping it up a bit. But that's so. But if it was bigger, maybe I would enjoy it. But it's kind of like he's tamping it up. It just comes off as bad. And I don't know how I feel about like when he gets brought back to life, Paul McGann, or becomes from Sylvester McCoy to Paul McGann. They intermix it with Will Sasso watching the original Frankenstein movie. So when Paul McGann opens his eyes, you hear, "It's alive! It's alive!" And I'm like, it just feels rather silly. And so Paul McGann escapes, gets with the female doctor, which takes her forever to believe in Paul McGann, even when he walks through a fucking glass door or whatever to see her. She still has to take her a bit of time to believe. It feels like not a whole lot happens. Kind of them going back and forth. One of the Asian guys that was part of the group that shot fucking the previous doctor, he's working with Eric Roberts. And it's the doctor having to explain to this lady, aka explain to the new audience, what the TARDIS is, Time Lord, who his master is, or not his, but who the master is, I should say. While Eric Roberts at times spits fucking venom out of his mouth as if it's a fucking snake. Which I don't know, did the master ever do that before? Become a fucking ghost snake that possesses people during the fucking snake? Did that ever happen on Doctor Who? I don't fucking know. You, the experts, to tell me. And like I said, I've never been a big Doctor Who guy anyway, but this seems even, I don't know, seems lame. And I guess this doctor can also see other people's futures. Like, tells one guy, you're going to take a test tomorrow. Make sure they answer the second question. Don't bother with the third one. Okay. Action wise, I mean, there's a bit where they get on a motorcycle because they steal a cop's motorcycle and they drive between two trucks while Eric Roberts is in this ambulance. Because they need to get to this place to get the atomic clock. Yeah, I know. Paul McGann and the female Dot find out where Eric Roberts is with the Asian guy with him and opens up the eye. And somebody's going to do something to fuck up the universe and will fuck up this planet. At one point, spoiler alert, Eric Roberts takes control of the girl. I don't know why the fuck he didn't do that before. Seemed like there were other times he could have done that earlier, but whatever. Does it now to knock out the doctor. The doctor's chained up. If the doctor can take control of her mind, can he take control of other people's minds? Like take control of the Asian guy or other people? I don't know. Anyway, the Asian guy says, "Oh, wait a minute, you lied to me. You said this guy was this, and you said you were this, and that's not it." Although, by the way, they've barely built up this Asian guy, it seems like he shouldn't give a shit whether Eric Roberts lied or not. That's the thing, you haven't done really anything to build up this other guy to make me believe that he's got a moral code. It's just like, oh, shit, we gotta do this now at the end of the fucking movie. Yep, he has a moral code. He does? I mean, I guess technically near the beginning he is able to get him to an ambulance in the hospital. So I guess technically there's that, to be fair. It just comes off as just a lame, cheap TV movie. The female doctor snaps out of it, is getting the doctor out. Eric Roberts don't like that, throws the bitch to her death. So now the Asian guy and the girl is dead. The doctor and Eric Roberts have this kind of rumble, like push fight. Until ultimately Eric Roberts does this goofy, like this, that's supposed to be a jump. But then gets into the eye and is sucked into the eye. The whole thing looked rather silly. And then the TARDIS, I guess, can bring people back to life. So it brings the girl and the Asian guy back to life. The doctor at one point kisses the girl. I don't know if he does that usually. But he did that earlier. Because when he first wakes up, he can't remember who he is. And then when he finally does, he kisses the female doc. And immediately she's like, do that again. I'm like, wow. I guess people who say they're aliens and Time Lords really turn you on. Gotta remember that. Just tell a girl, I'm a Time Lord and I'm from another planet. Okay. Then kiss her and then she'll say, kiss me again. I remember that. So the doctor takes off in the TARDIS and reading another book, and no more word was made of it. I mean, like I said, this movie's just not for me. I thought, other than Paul McGann, when he was the doctor, he had a bit of exuberance, he had a bit of excitement, especially when he remembers who he is. There's a little bit that he keeps offering people jelly belly stuff. What's that in your hand? And he opens it up and the guy takes it and eats it. Ooh. Jelly what a jelly bean thing. Or gummies. I don't know what the fuck they are. Like, I thought he said jelly belly. They look like gummies, but I just suppose like jelly bean. Maybe it's a UK thing. I don't know. But Eric Roberts was either bland or campy between the two. Like, really? Yeah, sometimes they did come off that way. The female doctor, you just know that she's a female doctor. The Asian guy, yeah, not much development on him. The location sets, they look pretty cheap. Again, very TV movie cheap. The finale was just ridiculous and sad. I mean, I've seen episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that look more exotic and multi-million compared to this. So if you want Eric Roberts to spit at you like a snake, and you want to see that, it's just not that exciting. It wasn't that funny. I think for sci-fi, it didn't really show a lot of visual creativity as a sci-fi. I can see why someone would watch this and go, I don't give a shit. And then it didn't get a fucking sequel or anything, or a show. Again, after watching this, I can fucking see why. People watch this and go, fuck this, you know. I wouldn't want to see more. So, either audiences don't know shit about Doctor Who and they wouldn't see it, or they see this, they go, it looks very boring, so I'm not going to see more. Or fans of Doctor Who, maybe they see this, they go, what the fuck do you do to Sylvester McCoy? How did he fucking die from a triad drive-through? Drive-by. Might as well be a fucking drive-through. Take your ass to lunch. Take that for what you will. It just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.